Doctor, where are we going? We must get to the station. I have to speak with Mr. Vale at once. Here you go. Mr. Vale? Mr. Vale?
Hello, Thomas. Who's this?
What? This is Mr. Vale. No.
I think I recognize you.
This can't end well.
Wait on. What? 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 Wait. Trans Extreme, what are you doing? That's the intro for the Thomas reviews. I made a review. I made an intro right here. Check it out. Today's review is The Time of the Doctor, the recent Doctor Who special. Now, the overall impressions for me are, I loved it. The Time of the Doctor special was one of the most memorable ones because it's Matt Smith's final episode, and basically all the enemies have come in, from Daleks to Slovene, Centaurans, etc. The words cannot describe how really good this episode is, and as far as I can tell, this is the shortest Doctor Who episode to have a regeneration. Because if we, there were three doctors: the War Doctor, David Tennant, and Matt Smith, all fighting off the Daleks on Gallifrey. And the War Doctor, he was basically just the Ninth Doctor technically. But if we go back to the Time of the Doctor, you can see how the Doctor's on all these spaceships, and just the way that he is portraying the planet, like, it was so good. I don't know what to say besides this episode is so amazing. I recommend it to any Doctor Who fan who watches it.
I think my thoughts on Time of the Doctor were really that, despite what a lot of people online were saying, I actually think that there was plenty of moments when a lot of the arcs that Stephen Moffat's been setting up for the whole of Matt Smith's run were actually and thoroughly resolved. And I think that um, there was enough in there that if you've been paying attention throughout the series, I mean, if you haven't been paying attention throughout the whole Silence arc, then you probably wouldn't understand what was going on. But if you've been paying attention and then you listen to every word that was spoken in that script because it was packed full of information, then I think that story arc has been successfully resolved, and that, unlike what people say, it's a very fitting way to not only resolve that arc so we can move on a little bit when we have the new Doctor coming this August, but that it also gives a very fitting end to an arc that went along with a very signature Doctor, my favorite Doctor at the moment, Matt Smith. And I think him sewing up that arc really nicely and ending like that was just a really clever way of doing it. And I didn't see any major issues with the plot that couldn't be ironed out if people just thought about things a little bit more, rather than expecting, all the answers to all the questions being laid out at their feet.
Oh, my favorite moments. Ah, there's so many. There's so many good moments. I think my most favorite moment was when Matt Smith had the hairstyle of William Hartnell, which is the first Doctor. I was so happy. I saw a little bit of the classic Doctor Who series. That just blew me away, just to see resemblances from classic Who mixed in with mixed in with this new era of Doctor Who. All the mini Easter eggs like Ragnos, um, Handles, who was portraying the companion K9 from the Fourth Doctor, Tom Baker. I think the most epic moment was when the Doctor received a new regeneration to kill off the Daleks. That was the most epic regeneration reset I've ever seen. That just blew me away so much. I never knew Stephen Moffat had that vast imagination on what he can do with a whole scene when it's Matt Smith's final episode. And I'm sad as you are to see Matt Smith gone. But who knows? Peter Capaldi might be just as good, if not better, than Matt Smith. Those are my favorite moments. Trans Extreme, what were your favorite moments?
Oh, my favorite moments. There was lots. As I kind of made clear in the introduction, I think every single time where there was an explanation of the silence was just great. So, finding out that the species are actually priests that have been genetically modified, so you forget them when you see them for confessions. The idea when Tasha Lem says, this church will be dedicated to silence falling. The idea of explaining that there was the rogue Kovarin chapter of the church that caused the cracking time, and that really nice, I think they call them bootstrap paradoxes, where like because of the crack they caused the crack, which meant they tried to go back and stop the crack, which caused the crack, kind of thing. Um, but I think my highlight would have had to have been when Handels translates what the question actually is, and you have that massive like, oh my goodness moment, and that was just something that was really really cool and really really had a big impact, I think, because it really brought to the fore and began this massive process of tying up a lot of loose ends, which I always think is really satisfying after Stephen Moffat made us wait that long. I also thought that end for the Doctor, where we had Amy come back, and despite the fact that the little girl wasn't the same actor because she's actually too old now, that's the reason why they didn't get the same actor back to do little Amy. But that was just so perfect because, as I said, he was the first face that face saw, and having the last one was really nice bookends. I think to Matt Smith's quite interesting and diverse chapter being the Doctor. So yeah.
Areas of improvement. I would say it's just Doctor Who because it is, and there's no room for improvement. But if there was one thing, I would explain why all the spaceships were hovering over Trenzalore in this weird manner, and explain more why Matt Smith was wearing a wig the entire time. Because I remember watching the behind the scenes of the time of the Doctor. Matt Smith did wear a wig, but no one explained it. And the holographic Amy Pond, which I should have put in my other favorite in my favorites. I mean, Amy Pond coming back, that was a big punch to the face, I guess. I don't know. The crack in Amy's wall that was put over Transalore in the sky, that was really cool. There was like a message from the Time Lords. These all should be in my favorites, but I think, like, I know they put all the hidden Easter eggs there, but we should just see why they were there and why the wooden Cyberman has to exist. If the sonic screwdriver doesn't work on wood, why does the wooden Cyberman exist? That's just my 2 cents. Trans Extreme, help me!
Again, I don't think there are a lot of places that really needed improvement in this episode. I think there were a couple of lines that could have been better done. Like, I feel like, the whole, you don't need to know his name, he's saving you, could have been made a little bit more like, expanded upon. So he said, no, the doctor wants you to come back, but you're alive, but you need to grant new regenerations because they're about to go to war, or something along those lines. But that didn't really bother me. I would have liked to see Kovarin again. That's about the only thing I would like. I feel like her arc in like her character arc has been left a little bit unresolved because we don't know whether she's actually dead or not. And I think it'd be interesting to see her come back. I would have liked to have seen her maybe before she turned evil or something in the church. But apart from that, I didn't really have anything wrong with the episode, which I suppose is a good thing, right?
My final thoughts on the time of the Doctor are this. I am, like I said before, extremely sad to see Matt Smith go as his final episode, and I'm willing to see what Peter Capaldi has for us. Jenna Coleman is an amazing actress. Everyone who starred in The Time of the Doctor was really amazing. the whole story was a work of art. The whole flow of the story was, it was just amazing. The music, the timing. Tasha Len, who is the leader of the Papal Mainframe, was that giant church, basically, who narrated it. It was just the best narration I've heard in Doctor Who since the what else? What else? What else? The regeneration that killed the Daleks. It was a good way to reset and have some fish fingers and custard before the end of Matt Smith's run. Have him look back at some old friends, new and old, and just to see what season 8 has in store. Change Extreme, what are your final thoughts?
My final thoughts would be simply this. I think this is the best Christmas special we've had, only narrowly beating The Snowman, which I think is very good. Um, and I think that it's definitely an episode which I can understand why people don't like, but then in fairness, I also think it's unfair that people don't like, because I think the people who don't like it because it doesn't like explain enough plot or whatever either haven't paid enough attention or aren't really, letting a TV show give them room to think what they want to think. And I think that's perfectly fine for Steve Moffat to say, you know what, I don't explain absolutely everything. Because I think, in a world like Doctor Who, with so much of a creative fandom, that people should be able to work out from the clues that he's given what he hasn't actually said. So I think this is a severely underrated episode by a lot of people, and a lot of people dismiss it because it's, rushed or whatever. I think that this is actually one of the best Matt Smith episodes, definitely, and certainly the best Christmas special. And I'd recommend it to anyone who's seen any of the new series if you just want to see how clever and funny, but also very moving, the Doctor Who can be.